JB here. Hope everyone's doing outstanding. Wednesday, November 5th, 3:30. Let me just try to get this off here. Talk really quick about the market. Some names I'm looking at go from there. Market's back in its regularly scheduled bounce rally. S&P up about 0.7% on the heels of yesterday's uh, biggest sell-off in over a month. It's pretty remarkable. It's like there's not much in the way of data, so the market becomes very headline driven. But it's not. I don't even know if it's headline driven. It's like the market moves, and then the headlines are created based on the direction the market's going, right, to rationalize the move. But similarly, yesterday was a tech. What they call it? Um, Tiredness. So well, I forget the exact wording. I keep forgetting that quote, and every time I'm trying to get on the rant, but they just talk about the tech sector getting, lacking energy or whatever. And then today it's the lack of jobs report. This is some of the data to look at, and but remarkable stuff here today. Lots of reversals off the lows this morning. AMD is probably the best example of kind of the market sentiment. Same. Take a look at Sandus today, up 18. Well, it was higher than that, but 11%. Seagate up. It's like back to the normal names running in this AI induced rally, I guess you would call it. So, like I've been saying for the last couple weeks, not a rally to fight. Markets can keep going for the next year and a half, 2 years, right? We could have a big pull in the next at some point within that time frame. Me, I'll just continue to look for opportunities to hedge myself on market weakness, small positions. If things accelerate, scale in larger. At the same token, that allows me to hold calls and keep getting to calls as well. So I'll continue to do that. Talked about 679 being a key spot on the SPY. Sure enough, where we are right now, 679. Pretty much since the noon hour, we've been chopping between 679 and 680. You had POTUS doing some comments today. Thankfully, he didn't put his foot in his mouth to move the markets. So that's aside. You also, and I was trying to listen, they just had the audio, the oral arguments around the tariffs. And I think there's a probability right now that the 20% chance that the tariffs stay. So 80% probability that the Supreme Court's going to rule against the tariffs. To me, it's the uncertainty, right? And anytime you kind of upheave what's already happened with some kind of surprise, probably some volatility with the market. So that's the unfortunate thing. We'll see how things play out. But then on the flip side, if the market, it's the poly market, one of those sites are forecasting a 20% probability of the tariff staying in place. So you would think if that's the case, the market would already have some of that baked in. But needless to say, I think if there is a decision, there'll be some kind of volatility with the markets. But 279 big spot on the way up here. We'll see if we chop around. And then, maybe tomorrow and Friday, we can head into right near the all-time highs. Remarkable stuff, right? We're kind of like in a stone throw away from being over 700. The other things today, I've been talking about the 10-year wanting to stay under 4%. It continues to rally, right? So yields are up. So yesterday was the other way around. But hey, I mean, you can't control the market, right? You got to trade what the market gives you, and I'll continue to do that. All right. So that's overall market. Now, just quick on individual names, like a monster day. There's some days that happen over a year or weeks or even a month of trading that make your entire gains or offset some losses. So hopefully the end of the week too will bring some more trading opportunities. But today was one of those fun days. I had the lemonade 80 strikes, right? I was trying to play those for premium builds. That didn't happen. Didn't want to lose the profits. I closed those out. And then I wasn't convicted that there was going to be a tremendous move in lemonade. I thought 25% up or down. I just thought even if there's a big beat and raise, the bears could come in. Sure enough, big beat and raise this morning. And then I don't know if I put it in a watch list or in the chat room, but if you've watched Lemonade, it doesn't move right away after the open after earnings. It typically has like a delay. It's like a delayed reaction. And then all of a sudden it spikes. And I was waiting for the delay. I'm looking at the options. Option market didn't open until like 9:31. And then boom, the instant option market opened, it went from like 67 to 70 in a flash. Then it chopped around. I'm looking at premiums. The 75 weeklies were $1. I'm like, I'm not going to grab those. Then it dipped under 70. And then I'm like, if it starts to find a bid around 68 or so and starts to go, I'll look for some calls. So sure enough, it finds some support. I went and sorry, this didn't go. I went and got some of those strikes. So I was looking at the weeklies. Then next week, I'm like, oh, the following weeks look interesting on risk reward base. If I get the 90 strikes, it trades into the mid 70s. Those are going to be at least a double. Sure enough, I get those. November 21st 90s. And then, what time did I get them? Like 10 o'clock? No, did I get them at 10 o'clock? Maybe I got, around 10 o'clock. And then, all I don't want to have this up here. Sorry about that, folks. But less than an hour, I was able to close some out for 100% or 60% to cover costs. Then within an hour, 100% to cover more costs with profit. And now those are up like 300%. So I'll continue to hold those. I mean, it's at $80 here. You would think if the Bears had an opportunity to really shake the tree, it was done at the open, and I think that's it. I've been talking about lemonade for quite some time, since it was 18, since 20, then 30, and it's like you can be right on a trade. It's the hold part that makes it more difficult, right? Because how many times has it sold off? I've had calls, it's spiked, I lock some in, then there's no follow through, and then there'll be the time where you do hold it, and finally that's the breakthrough moment. I'm hoping this is the start of a move to $100 and beyond. Call me crazy. Tomorrow's like a key date for me in regards to the possibility of that happening. So I'll continue to hold those 90 strikes. I have plenty of time. It's a great story. I talked about this before. The Bears think it's done, right? It's a zero at some point. And if you look at a bull case, it's $200-$300 stock. It's probably substantially higher right now without the Bears, right? And it's funny, there's like a CNBC interview with the CEO this morning, whatever. And it almost sounds like they are skeptics, like they're bearish, like one of those they're hedge funds that are short, whispered in CNBC's ear and says, ask him why he's not profitable. Ask him why, all these, it was like loaded questions, like gotcha questions, because Lemonade's not profitable, right? I mean, when they're profitable insurance company, stock's going to be substantially higher than where it is right now. So, he talked about costs, right? I mean, what kind of business is growing in scale and able to cut their spend on salaries and things like that. Their expenses are going down while the revenues are going up because of their efficiency. So anyway, really great story. I'm not going to go on a rant too much on that, but if I see some opportunities on a follow through tomorrow, I might look for some more strikes. I would not be surprised to see CBOE add strikes past $100. All right, so that's Lemonade. And then SolarEdge, my old friend, right? I love the solar sector. I've been 2014 trading. I'm trying to think of all the other years. The first solars, the Canadian solar, but SolarEdge, one of those names, just been destroyed. Cost issues, solar issues in regards to subsidies and competitive concerns in Europe, and there's like all these different negative catalysts that hit SolarEdge since it's run to $300, right? It was a great story. If you think of the future, you would hope that we're in a 50 years from now, it's a renewable energy future, right? Where solar and some other sources of energy that are not combustion or coal related or pollutants are able to power the future. Nuclear even, right? If we're able to do that safely. SolarEdge is like front and center with that. So we love this name. Played it for some nice gains over the last couple of years on its short interest, right? It's a huge short interest name. Again, another name that people are pricing for zero. And this one, rightfully so, huge debt problems. If they didn't roll out some of the debt and stuff at the start of this year, they have big issues. But then on the flip side, you take a look what's going on in the energy space as it is. It's like every little channel you turn on some financial network, they're talking about power, right? Energy, how much we're going to need. POTUS was just talking about. I mean, he talks in a general sense, but so here's a name, and you see what's happened with First Solar. All these names that are just, that there's going to be opportunities. So, I'm watching it go at the morning. So they report earnings. It was $24 in the pre-market this morning after their earnings. Then market opens. I'm watching it start to go. It's in the low 30s. I'm like, this might squeeze. And then once it went red to green, I'm looking for some strikes. I was trying to find decent risk reward strikes to take advantage of upside, but then at the same time, be able to close them out if somehow there's some rug pull. Because if you traded SolarEdge before, there's been some wild swings. So got those 37 strikes within, I don't know how long, an hour or maybe less than that. I was able to close them out for 100, then 300, then 400%. And then I went and got some 45s for next week because I figured once it breaks 40, those will start to gain premium. They were inexpensive, at least for what I thought they would be. I got those 45s for 60 cents, close them out for 100%. And I don't even know what they are right now. They're close to 100% right now. I'll continue to hold those. So monster trade on SolarEdge. I'll continue. You look at SolarEdge, I'm like, this could be $80 in a couple months. Call me crazy. But similar to Lemonade, I want to see some follow through tomorrow. So I'll continue to hold those strikes. Sometimes the crazy thoughts are the ones that make the most money. I'm trying to think of some of the names over the years when I get like a lotto trade. Back when Netflix wasn't popular, I think it was like Netflix was at $80, and this is before it splits and stuff. So very small company, maybe it was like a $5 billion company, whatever. And I got the $120 calls that expired the next day, and I had like hundreds of them. And someone wrote, some German publication wrote an article on my trade. I have to, all these are back in the day, but no crazy or sane person would buy a contract one day before expiration, that's $30 out of the money. Those things just don't make sense. But those are the ones that provide the insane profits. But you know what? If you do that 1,000 times, you're probably going to 1,000 times. They're not going to happen. So you got to find ways to take that probability down, whether it's your fund, technical analysis, due diligence, all those different things, right? So that's all right. So that's how you get the casino to get the house more in your favor. All right. So that's Solar Edge. Will continue to hold those. Uh, and then later in the morning, got the Reddit strikes. I mean, this one again is one of those mind-boggling stories that you're like, Reddit's. I mean, in my opinion, with those earnings, should be well over $300. And then you see all these partnerships and deals and the billions of dollars that get thrown out there, and it's like Reddit is like, I wouldn't call it the glue, but it's like the food for AI, right? It keeps the learning models all getting information. So anyway, and then I say that in a generic sense, but then you look at the specifics of its numbers. It's insane growth, like 70% growth rate. Just all those different just metrics are just monstrous. And then here it is sitting at $198. I don't know if again some people look at it and say Reddit is just a forum, right? It's the forum of 2025, and at some point, so it'll be replaced by something. I don't think that's the case. So that's that. So I'll continue. I got those lotto calls. I'll continue to hold those. I was looking to get them out for a double. They're up like 60% or they were earlier. I'll just continue to hold those, and then when I get a chance to lock in, ride the rest. Wingstop. I talked about holding the strikes if got back over 250. Sure enough, it's over 250. The problem is the premiums on the calls aren't going up in lockstep. So back when it was 249 or something yesterday, my strikes up over 100%. It got up to 260 today, and they're barely up to over 100%. So I'll just continue to hold the last of my 300 strikes. I posted on FinTwit too. It's like Wingstop was $380 back in August after monster earnings, and then it dropped 47% down under two. I think it was under 220. I think it was under 200 at one point, for no other reason than some other names are not performing well, right? So anyway, I mean, start looking at moving average 264 on the 50-day. Got up to 260. It breaks that tomorrow. I'll just continue to hold those strikes. And then some other names, obviously, Duolingo reports after the close. 17% implied move. Those 350s I keep looking at, they were $3, dropped all the way under $2 yesterday, back over $3. What are they right now? Here's the thing, like it's got to have like a huge move on. So, it's the 350s and 340 by 370. They keep going up. It's 265 here, right? So let's say it has a 20% move. That's $50 or, $52 or whatever. So that puts it at like 320. What's the 350s going to, maybe it'll be $5? I don't know. So that risk reward doesn't jive for me. Now, on the flip side, maybe you go out some further out of the money strikes, but those are not cheap either. I mean, the 400 calls are 80 by $1 on the weekly strike. So again, if it goes to 325, those tomorrow, the 400s, they're going to lose premium. It's got to have like a 35, 40% move. I'm not saying that can't happen, right? I talked about being crazy, but to me, that's highly unlikely, even if they have a crazy report. A monster beat and raise, maybe it's up 20%. So playbook for me is similar to Lemonade. I'll wait for tomorrow. And beat and raise and starts to rally, maybe I'll play for some follow through. Anyways, have a great day. I'll be back on. On the flip side too, I have those ASML puts looking great in yesterday afternoon, looking great in the overnight hours, and I just held them. To me, sometimes having a hedge allows you to be a little more aggressive on the call side, right? So I'll continue to have put hedges on breaks of support. Right now, 673 is the big spot. All right, so have a great day, folks. I'll be back. We'll rock and roll.